I got an idea. Oh yeah. What's good, everybody? My name is Valor and welcome back to Valtech Armory, and this is the TMG-02. This is a pump action internal mag bullpup revolver blaster. It's many things. It's easiest to describe this more as a Lynx crossed with a Hades, because it has loads of capacity, no mags, and is a revolver, but this is a bullpup, which means this thing is capable of some really high power with a compact frame. If you're looking at this, it is obviously going to remind you a bit of the Lynx a little bit. At least the early versions, it had a separate grip here, and that is because it is pretty much a Lynx derivative. It is using the same style of powertrain, though instead of using a Talon mag in the back here, it's actually using in this case, a cast revolver turret, which feeds from these 3 tube magazines up on the top. And to load, you simply pull the followers back, and once you've got it pulled all the way back, you can push to either side because there are notches in either side of the rail here. You can load in from either of the slots on the sides or the top if you have it primed backwards. And then once you're full, you simply release the pin and slide it back forward. Though this time, once you have it loaded, these individual spring-loaded followers will push the darts into the turret. And that feeding mechanism is really interesting for something like this, considering it's a bullpup. This one is a bit on the short side because I don't have an extended stock. Personally, I'd use a slightly more extended stock because it is currently about end strike size, but for CQB, and considering this was designed by an Asian person, you know, it's not that bad. But I did a custom job on the pump here because the original pump that came with the files I saw on some people's builds were actually breaking. So I designed this more svelte, more sort of curved, more ergo style pump. But you simply prime back, and that will actually rotate the cylinder back one, or at least half a turn. And then as you bring it forward, it will rotate the rest of the way and bring a dart into the chamber. And this thing is no joke in terms of the power it can output, because it is basically just a Lynx powertrain with a new feeding mechanism, which means this thing is really good for competitive if you want to run sort of a limited ammo capacity game. Each of the tube mags holds 9 darts. Then you can get 1 extra if you push them into the cylinder here, so you can get about 30 darts per reload. And the fact that you can actually top this thing up on the fly without even having to prime it back to access the top is an excellent little addition. Features like that are great for scavenging games. They're great for HVZ if you want to run this as a lower power build, because currently it has an unidentifiable red powder-coated spring. It's not a K26, I don't think. It's a little bit thinner than that. But regardless, it's still getting really good performance. But I just love the fact that I can say that this is a mag-fed bullpup revolver with slam fire. That is a really cool idea. And this is the sort of derivative that I have no issues with when it comes to Chinese designers, because this is obviously based on the Lynx platform, but rather than just making a clone of it or whatever, it's actually doing something different, it's doing something interesting, and it's actually quite practical for certain types of games. And I just wanted to commend the designer of this for their work on it. I can't remember if it's designed by Shania or whoever. I'll have to put a little bit of text up on the screen right here, because it's been a while since I've built this thing and actually give it some tests and stuff. But yeah, like, excellent job. I mean, this is really interesting. It could use some refinement, because there are a few things like parts back here that are a little bit thin. I actually had to stick a screw in here to sort of reinforce that joint, because it's a bunch of different separate pieces, and this area right here around the plunger tube is a little bit on the thin side. Even though I did print it with my stronger settings, it was able to crack a little bit. And as well as the pump grip issue, where the backs were actually snapping off, because it was a similar issue with the thinner plastic. I think he was kind of designing it around the idea of being either injection molded or something, whereas this was just snapping right along the print grain, which is something you have to keep in mind for something like this. Another thing you could easily do is just add a Picatinny rail to it, so you can add whatever pump you want. But I like this sort of shotgun style pump on here anyway. But yeah, that is enough talking about it. Let's shoot it. Alrighty, about 60 feet away this time. Gonna aim for the tree. I've got a box behind it to help really signify when I'm sort of hitting the target a little bit better. But I still have the camera facing us, so it'll be like a bit of a POV sort of thing. If I hit the camera, you know what will happen. Shotgun. And we are out. Yeah, that was a lot of capacity, even though I didn't have this thing fully loaded. Considering it's 3 tubes that hold, I think, about 9 darts each. Yeah, that's the amount of Itachi mag in something more compact than you don't have a massive mag sticking out the bottom. Yeah, overall, not bad. I don't have the SCAR on this tuned for this blaster at all. This is the AC Foamworks SCAR barrel. It is meant more for sort of 200 and below-ish. This is hitting above that, so I'll have to get a different SCAR to go on here. But I was still able to hit the target quite a few times, and you know, if someone's moving, it's easy enough to kind of quickly fire again, because this thing has slam fire just like the original Lynx. And thinking about it, considering this top system right here could be moved basically anywhere, I would love to see a version of this blaster with even longer magazine tubes, with the revolver a little further back, maybe have it protected by like a cover or a window or something, rather than just having it kind of open, which is kind of good for getting out jams, which I had 1 or 2 jams, but that was just while I was testing this thing and kind of getting it tweaked and running smoothly. I would love to see this thing with, you know, 15 per magazine, and then have the revolver back here, so you could have a really high capacity with no mags whatsoever. You just load it up and go, and you are hitting, you know, competitive grade FPS with something like this. And overall, I really like this thing. It is different, and it does something cool, and that's despite its faults, because this thing does require a little bit of improvement, like, you know, having a longer stock and everything for taller people like me. I'm about 6 feet tall, with a decently large wingspan. Having the pump right here is actually really comfortable for me, at least, and having a pump like this that is more of a shotgun style that isn't so far back and everything, making it stronger, more robust and everything, means that I can actually use this thing no problem. Heck, I would love to see a pistol in this sort of configuration, maybe with a slide or something, or maybe even make this thing more compact, make it into more of a SMG type thing rather than this kind of bullpup shotgun-y thing. But I'm just rambling and gushing at this point. Let me know what you think down in the comments below about this blaster and about these sort of designs that are coming out of China that are derivatives or are just a own custom thing based around an idea rather than these rip-offs. Because I think that having less rip-offs is the best way we can go about things, and the more custom and new ideas that we can get thrown into hobby, like, it will be a great time for the community. As ever, I'd like to thank you for watching, and a big thanks to the patrons that are scrolling on the screen right here. Starting at $1 a month, you can help the channel out, you get access to the Patreon Discord server, as well as access to sneak peeks, and help me out on future videos, and help me decide what I'm gonna do next. And as ever, my name is Valor. Thanks for watching.